realize that there is a wound and a scar that will run so deep. It may feel at this moment that will never close. But I want to assure you that coming together at these moments and continuing to come together as family and friends and being able to speak His name, even if it brings tears, begins to bring that healing that so rightly will come. Now, if you're worried about those tears coming, I will tell you today that I will not dry a single one of your tears, because He's worth it. He's earned each and every one of them. The saddest occasion would be if He had lived such a life that He hadn't earned your tears, that He wasn't missed. It would be sad if in His loss and His passing that the chapel wasn't full. But it is today, because He lived such a life and He left such a mark on your heart, your life, your mind, that there is loss. So for spending this time today, certainly as I mourn the loss of my cousin, and you are mourning the loss of your family member or friend, it's worth the time. Speaking of time, I need you to go back in time just for a moment. Go back to a slightly different world. Go back to a moment that if you're going to steal away to a movie theater, on the marquee it's going to say Home Alone. Or maybe you're going to see the movie Dances with Wolves. Maybe you're going back in time for a moment and you're going to flip on the radio and Bon Jovi is going to be playing Blaze of Glory. Go back to that moment where if you pick up a newspaper, you turn on the TV, they're talking about the Iraq War. But it's the first one. You're going back to a time when George Bush Sr. is in the White House. You're going back to a time where a brand new Isuzu is going to cost you $12,000. Gas is $1.25. It just seems like a different world. 100 years of history, it feels like, when you go back to 1990. And it seems so long ago. Suddenly you start talking about a quarter century of history. And it seems like so much time, so much to even to begin to take in. But when you begin to speak of someone's life, 25 years isn't enough. A quarter century is just a blink of an eye. We have to gather in this place either to curse the darkness that has come or to light a candle, to try to bring light to a dark place and celebrate Shane's life. It is with Thanksgiving today that we talk about it. And I have to tell you that I'm angry, I'm upset. I remember as I was driving south on 95, hearing the news that an accident had happened here in Daytona. And there was just that feeling, maybe you had that same one. All of us have turned on TV, or we've flipped open the newspaper, or we've seen something pop up on our mobile device, and we've had that feeling of, oh, that's really bad, something terrible's happened. And then you have that gut feeling of, I have to know more. And I remember searching and searching, trying to find the story. And Buffy calls me. And it's the worst of fears. It's family. And of course, as all of you know, you in one way or the other encountered that moment where you learned about it, whether it was just even just opening up your phone and seeing suddenly a message on Facebook. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's somebody knocking at the door and you realize that everything inside just begins to sink. And then everything inside says, no, that's not right. It's a mistake. I'm going to get the call at any moment that this is not the way it happened. Then you begin to grasp that double tragedy. 2 lives in just a blink of an eye. So much potential, so much future. And all of the emotions will flood you. There's the shock, it can't be right. And then the denial. And then the anger. And then it begins to settle in. And you'll have the resolve and you'll find the way to carry forward. Now, I don't know where you are at this moment. For me, I've had more than one moment where I've stayed up late and I've just asked God why. I can tell you right now, God did not take it. but he was there to receive him. He was there to hold him and draw him close. I don't believe God is sitting up there pushing buttons and calling people home. I believe that sometimes bad things happen to really good people. Just like, sometimes really good things happen to really bad people. And you just sit back and you go, why is all this good happening to them? Sometimes in this world, it is not fair. And I understand. But the longer I live, I realize that I have more and more of my family and friends standing on the other side. And I know today that as difficult as the loss is, I know that there are family and there are friends who are holding him close. And for them, in that place where there is no time, there are no tears. And it's just a blink of an eye, and we're there. It's we who, for a moment, have to spend a little bit of time here. Now, I know that if he could look from the other side to here, he would tell you not to be in a hurry to get there. Because he would want you to enjoy the things that he enjoyed. When you look back and you realize that the one thing that you've always noticed about him is that smile. Always a sense of hope. I mean, were you one of those folks that when he got that new job, he would call and say, I just got hooked up. I got the best new job. You're going to love this. I'm taking care of it. Were you one of those people that you could just see his joy? Maybe you were at one of the family gatherings. Remember when they had the karaoke machine out and people would be singing and you're going, you cannot sing to save your life. You need to put that down. Somebody's going to think an animal is trapped. But he could sit back and watch family and friends singing and having a good time. Maybe you're one of the people that he was able to escape with. And whether you're going out and just hanging out with family, you're going mudding, you're going fishing, you're just sitting around shooting the breeze and telling stories. Maybe you're sitting back looking at the hot cars go by and you're dreaming about what you're going to be driving. Now, I know he loved that Mustang. And you can look at the different rides that he had, and he always enjoyed his cars. He always enjoyed his music. Now, how anybody can flip from rap music to country music, you're going, do you realize these worlds do not always mix? If he could have just had the opportunity, he could have been a rap country artist. No one has crossed that line yet. But it was a great joy in that music where some people will have to escape to the far side of the world to find something to make them happy. He could just sit around with friends and listen to the music. And all you have to do is crank it up and it'll take you away. And if he could just get away and hang with friends, he had no problem enjoying those moments. It gave him an opportunity to throw a little bling on. He loved his jewelry, loved his rides, hats and shoes. If you're one of those people that throw the shoe boxes away, you're doing something wrong. Those carefully, the sneakers have to go back in the box. Now, if you're one of those people that know the shoes, you know what I'm talking about. But you see, it's those simple things. Things that we take for granted, that he could find great joy in. Now, I know today he has been very loved. Now, I have a privilege, I guess, just as my position in life. I can hear all sides. And I want you to know that this has been a young man that has been dearly loved. He has been loved by his mother. He has been loved by his father. He has been loved by Buffy and David. He has been loved by his family and friends so deeply. And I'm going to tell you that from the bottom of my heart. I know the story. And everybody in here will stand from a different perspective. But no matter where you stand today, I know you see him. and you see a young man with hopes and dreams, and he had so much. I know that there was a heart that was just excited as somebody like Michelle came into his life. I know that there was excitement, that there was so much potential. You know, you look at Jamari, and you realize that there is hope because there is a future connected when a generation gets to see a next generation. And at his heart was that smile. And you knew that behind it was a mischievousness, a spontaneity, a love for adventure. Always ready to go. Always more energy than he knew what to do with. And that is something that was just instilled within him. Because those people in his world made sure that he knew that he was loved. Now, somebody once said you can tell what a person is filled with because when they're bumped, you can see it spill out. And you know what always spilled out of him? Love. Because everybody I talked to could recall the moment that whenever he would leave, he always needed to tell people that he loved them. Now, our family over the years, maybe yours too, has experienced a lot of loss. We've realized that you don't always get 100 years. And because loss comes, all of us have a pretty good habit of when we leave people, we hug them, we tell them we love them. Someone once said, if you always live your life in such a way that it's your last day, one day you'll be right. And he always had that ability to let people know that they were loved, that they were cared for, that they were important. And if you weren't feeling well and you needed somebody to pick you up, you needed somebody to give you literally the shirt off their back, he'd do it. Because he cared about people. He knew that he had family that cared about him, and there was always a room and always a door open to him. He always knew, listen, there's a lot of people in this world that don't have a place to lay their head. He always knew that there was family and friends that had a place for him. There was always a place. He was welcomed in and loved. That's why this chapel is full today. That's why we had to go to a church and not a funeral home, because most of them don't have enough seats. And I can tell you that for the place to be full, often people have to have a lot of letters after their name, or there has to be a building somewhere in this city with their name on it. Here's a young man, just 25 years old, with so many people that loved him and cared about him. And you know, you brought him out because as a younger child, he was a bit more introverted. But as he hit those teen years and he began to just really experience life more, he came out of that shell so much more. And you saw more laughter, more confidence. Sometimes too much confidence. Isn't it amazing that even on his last day, he still brings a smile to your face? He could still make you laugh by memories of him. But that's what he did. He made people happy. And that to me is just, it speaks volumes about him. He was always ready with that smile. To the point where he carried a toothbrush with him on more than one occasion. Who carries a toothbrush with him? But it was that $1 million smile. And he was always ready to use it. And some people will be summed up by what they do. It's not the jobs that he did. It's not working construction. Those were things that helped provide money.